Come on out to Mississauga, it's the greatest place around. Where on a quiet evening you can watch the sun go down. And if you should need a friend, there are plenty to be found. That's why everybody loves that good old Mississauga.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here. I'm Matthew Wilkinson, historian with Heritage Mississauga. Please send in your questions to history@heritagemississauga.org as we explore the fascinating stories of Mississauga together. Like, subscribe, and follow us and stay up to date on all the heritage happenings with Heritage Mississauga. As part of this program, we will be exploring moments, memories, and milestones from the past 50 years with past and present civic leaders and Mississauga residents for the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. On this week's episode, we are pleased to be joined by Irene Chu, a very active and involved citizen and long-serving volunteer in our community, as we explore her personal perspectives of moments and milestones for the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. Well, thank you, Irene, for joining us here on this episode of Moments and Milestones as part of the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, so this is my honor. I'm grateful to be here.
Well, we earlier in the series we interviewed your son Charles, and he was recounting some of his early memories. But I was really curious about your the family coming to Mississauga and making Mississauga your home. You and your husband Stephen decided to make Mississauga your home. So I'm just wondering if we can start with that. Is what are your connections to the city of Mississauga, and when did it become home to you?
I am a first generation immigrant.
Yeah.
It was 30 some years ago. So I made a move from my original place to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was adventurous to me and my husband. We have never come to Canada before.
Yeah.
And however, we feel this is a good place for us to live in. Both of us were younger at that time compared to what we are now.
Yeah.
So in the event we made wrong move, we are able to start all over again. So my husband has a colleague from his previous employer who was in Mississauga.
Okay.
His family was new to the country too. He let us stay in his place for a week. Then we met our good friend from college. So he also lived in Mississauga at that time. So what a coincidence. Maybe we should start our new chapter as immigrants in this city. So this is how Mississauga become home for me and my family.
Okay. Now, when you and where was home for you? Like, where were you coming from?
I came from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a city in Asia.
Yep. We have a lot of links here in Mississauga back to Hong Kong and to China. But so the draw to Mississauga then was people you already knew already living here.
Yeah.
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 So when you left on your journey here, did you have the idea that Mississauga would become your home?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's just because I have I do not know anyone.
Right.
So when the first day we come to Canada, so the only friend we have is live in Mississauga. So that's why yeah, this is the place for us to live in. So we have a connection start from Mississauga in Canada. Yeah.
So what was thinking back to your arrival to Mississauga, like so many Canadians, I'm guessing Pearson Airport was kind of your stopping point, if you will, and starting point in Mississauga. But what were your perceptions of Mississauga on your arrival? You're talking over 30 years ago now, so the city we have today is probably very different than the city you saw 30 years ago. So can you reflect or remember back to that time when you first arrived and what your impressions were of Mississauga?
Yes. So I just said that I come from Hong Kong, and that the city is a densely populated city.
Right.
So people are everywhere. So business malls, stores, and restaurants are open every day with long hours. So Mississauga at that time is a quiet place. Um, I remember the big blue sign on the highway showing the population in the city is 380,000.
Right.
So it is not a crowded city, given the area of the city is almost 300 square kilometers.
Yep.
At one time, my husband and I did a count of people walking on the street for fun. There was a gap of a few minutes to see a person passing by after the first one. And we did a count of cars as well. So both were not too many. So it's just like a city uh, that can give peace and quiet for the local people.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you, sorry, did you find yourself attracted to that coming from Hong Kong where it's densely populated? Was that part of the appeal of Mississauga?
Well, I try to make a change because like I want to raise my family in a place that uh I have a more relaxed time and like I can spend more time with the family.
Right.
Yeah, so Mississauga is the right place for me.
Right.
And I remember that. So the malls and plaza were closed on Sundays in the early years of 1990s.
Yeah.
I recalled on Sundays, on Saturday actually, moms and dads would go to buy groceries with their children. So these parents work 5 days a week from Monday to Friday. So grocery shopping is therefore a family activity.
Right.
As on the day the parents don't need to work. So there are always long lineups in the checkouts. So the waiting time could be like 10 to 15 minutes or even longer. I can see people of different personalities standing in the line. So some socialize with the people around, some are just frustrated and being impatient, some are quietly waiting to make payment.
Right.
Some yelled at their children for not staying with them in the line. It is a study of sociology on real life. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Some things are universal of all over all time.
Yeah, right.
Um, so where did setting up your own roots in Mississauga, what area of Mississauga did you come to call home?
I settled down in the credit woodland areas,
Okay.
and this is the place that we have been looking for. Like we hire real estate agents at the time, and we keep looking around. Yeah, places in Mississauga, and finally we are able to find a house in the credit woodland area that yeah,
Yeah.
both my husband and I like it, and yeah, and this is a good place.
Yeah. And then also establishing yourself. I know the family has a long connection to their chartered accountant endeavors. I know I spoke to Charles about that a little bit. Was that I guess establishing your own roots in Mississauga, getting the career started, but very early on, your family's connected to the Chinese Businessmen's Association, I believe, and
Yeah.
the Chinese Center. Can you talk about the kind of those early years of, transitioning? You're a newly arrived immigrant, but now you're putting your roots down, and building something for yourself in Mississauga. Can you reflect on that time a little bit of the challenges, but the opportunities as well?
Uh, yeah. So at that time, we do not have much connection. So we have to start afresh um, in the new place. And so I have to go and look for opportunities like places to take care of my children,
Yep.
like the daycare center. So to check out if this is a good place for them to stay during the daytime. And I also have to look for jobs. Yeah, so the early days for us is not easy, but we managed to go through it. And then so both of us me and my husband has found jobs, and then we settled down. Then um, we have to raise the family.
Yeah.
So when the children are growing, so I get them to go to join the programs, and also ask them to go to the library for like taking more activities there, and to be like um, uh, uh, develop them to be a book reader. So to in one way to get them educated, and then to broaden the scope of interest for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
And
sorry,
yeah,
go on.
so
Sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue.
no, it's okay. Yeah. So I think that I can recall some of the memories there. So when I go to the library, so the library um is small at that time, but it went through a lot of renovation. So when I go there, so I look for books I'm interested in. Um, when the books are borrowed out, so there are like a self-serve system to reserve them.
Yep.
So it was a computer with a big hardware on the floor, and the monitor with the size of a square box and a big screen. So there were also shelves to place the reserved items for pickup.
Right.
So later on, the video recorded tapes, the CDs, audiobooks, and other digital products were also available to borrow. So people can buy used books and digital products in the library at a discounted price. I think it is still going on since a lot of people like it. So
But
for
the library played an integral role then in kind of welcoming you and connecting you to services and opportunities.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Now, I don't know the exact genesis, so bear with me. This is a broad question in a sense, but the Mississauga Chinese Center becomes or has become kind of one of those. uh, I don't know, an amazing community point within our city. Like it really is unique, but it's vibrant and it's an important element of Mississauga. But your arrival is very early on in kind of the evolution of and the creation of that center and how important was it to kind of find within Mississauga your own community that kind of supported you? Because it must be a little scary coming when you only know one other person.
Yeah. So um this the so when the day when the years when I came to Mississauga,
Yeah,
so the Mississauga Chinese Center is a newly constructed place.
yeah,
So but in in my opinion, so it is a place that I like very much, and it's I should be proud of. Um this is like a very unique in the city. So not only in Mississauga, but I
it
think
is.
it should be in Canada or even in North America.
Yeah,
So they have a lot of features that shows the uh, the 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 culture of the Chinese people.
yeah.
Yeah, so the Night Dragon Wall at the entrance is just a piece of art.
It is beautiful.
So
It is.
it is beautiful.
Yeah,
So in the olden days, it was built in the emperor's palace only.
yeah.
This dragon wall is the only one located outside of Asia. Yeah, so um, the architectural design of the place resembles many of the significant feature of the Chinese culture.
Yeah.
So it is truly an attraction, not only to the tourists, but to the local people in the city. Yeah.
Did you find yourself drawn to becoming involved with any of the events or programs around the Mississauga Chinese Center? Certainly, it must have been a social hub for you and a support network as well. But I'm just trying to think from the family engagement perspective. Did you find yourself getting involved with that at all?
Um, yes and no.
Yep.
So the center is a place that we always go for dim sum. They have a big restaurants in there, and we also go there for grocery shopping
Right.
for like Chinese food, and so it's more on the retail and business
Right.
uh, aspect. Um, well, if like for socializing, there is no clubs, social clubs, or like any other things like that in the center.
Right.
But because we always like to meet friends in the restaurant, so that serve the purpose to a certain extent.
Right.
Because when we want to connect with people, so we just say that we will meet at the restaurant. So and so and what and at what time, so we can meet together there.
Right.
So this is the yeah, how we come to meet um longtime friends and acquaintances. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Well, I have to think too, because I'm thinking back in time. I remember when it opened, and I remember photographing the Nine Dragon Wall when it was unveiled. But there's more options today for people looking for different cultural foods. There's more places to shop. There's more, like, our city has become more multicultural. I
Yeah.
think over the last 30 years, 40 years, as we've evolved. There was a time when this was really unique, and it still is unique. But I mean, in terms of what you could get there, that you really couldn't get anywhere else in the city. So to me, I always look at the Chinese Center as kind of a well, I don't know what the right word is, but it paves the way for other things to come. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but it's kind of the way I've always looked at it. It's kind of, this is a not a starting point, but it's a significant step in that multicultural evolution of the city.
Yeah. Um, So the Mississauga Chinese Center is not the only place to get Chinese food.
Yeah,
As the development of the city is so fast, and more people from China or from other Asian countries came to the city. So there are also other developments like the Golden Square center. So they have lots of restaurants. Yeah, they offer Chinese food. This the significance of the Mississauga Chinese Center is not very important to some in some sense. It is because people have other options to go to
right.
get what they want. And however, the unique feature in the Chinese Center still attracts many people going there, because you see the Night Dragon Wall and the Suzhou Garden, and this is hard to find in somewhere else. So people, when going there, they feel that yeah, they are in China actually. And we have a Chinese festival or also happen in the center. So like the Mid Autumn Festival.
Yep.
So this is the and in actually the Mississauga Chinese Business Association have the Crime Awareness Day organized in this year in the center for 2 days. Yeah, so this is to also celebrate the Moon Festival there. Yeah.
I know there's been a long connection as well with the Chinese Businessmen Association, and with celebrating Lunar New Year with the city of Mississauga at
Yeah.
City Hall. I know
Yes.
Mayor McCallion for many years was a real champion of kind of that celebration. So, um, yeah, it really is one of the cultural dynamics of our city that make our city so interesting to me to live in, is the celebrations that we all embrace that come from different parts of the world. I think it's a really neat aspect.
Right. Yeah.
Um, you have most likely been involved in numerous groups and organizations over your time in Mississauga. I can see on your byline that yeah, of your picture here, you have Rotary and so Rotary's obviously been something you've been involved with as well. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about organizations or groups that you've been involved with that kind of had an impact on you as, making Mississauga your home, but also an impact on the city as at large as well.
Yeah, and well, I did not involve much when my children were small.
Yeah.
So when they grow older, I started volunteering in Mississauga Chinese Business Association. So I help them for the activities like the luncheon for business networking
Right.
and Chinese New Year in celebration in City Hall that you have mentioned it. Yeah,
Yep.
and the Community Crime Awareness Day in Celebration Square and the Mississauga Chinese Business Center.
Yep.
So I joined the Peel Regional Police Chief Resource Council, and there is a need for the Chinese community to communicate and work with the police. The Chief Resource Council is a great idea to achieve that. So, council members can be like ambassadors to reach out to the community. So they can also bring feedback to the police about what's happening out there. Um, and we can also um, give like a uh, 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 keep keep yourself safety message to the people. So in the neighborhood, so community safety and well-being is very important to residents in region of Peel.
Right.
So therefore, I'm involved in Peel Crime Stoppers. So it is because I am very keen on crime awareness and crime prevention. So making Peel region a safe place for us is the vital role.
Well,
So
thank you as a resident here with young children myself. I appreciate the work. I really do. But it's about building community, right? I mean, is that
yes,
kind of the inspiration of your involvement of, making this a better place to live?
yeah, I want to to make it a better place and a safer place. So keep us safe is very important.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I can't. That's a higher calling than I. Yeah, you're a good role model for those seeking to get involved in their community. So, uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I also see beside your name though Rotary. Or you've been involved with the Rotary Club?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when my children have grown up, so I have more time on my own.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine knows that I have a plan to contribute to community.
Yeah.
So she invited me to check out with a Rotary Club for community work. I offer help in many places, in many ways. I participated in fundraising for the coldest night of the year
Mm.
to to raise money for the needy and also for like others organization they need the funding.
Right.
So I did the tree planting in springtime and for conservation of environment. Uh, Visited the vulnerable groups, cleaning up of prayer garden and cemetery of a Trinity Church in spring and fall, and many more.
Well, I mean, there's a cross-cultural section right there. Korea Park, twin to our sister city in Japan, Trinity Anglican Church in Streetsville, as one of our long-standing community congregations with a great history here in this community for generations upon generations. I mean, you're touching all corners here. This is I
Yeah, I
and
do.
and hat tip to Rotary, not only the Rotary Club of Streetsville, Rotaries across the city, service above self, and really giving back to the community and raising funds for worthy causes. And so I have all the time in the world for Rotary clubs. I think they do wonderful things for our city. So kudos to you. Thank you
So
for being that involved.
yeah,
So in the guise of all of these things that you've been involved in and what you've seen in the city and again through the associations and groups and clubs and things that you've been part of, Can you think of some people, individuals that have had a major impact on the story of the city through your eyes, either on yourself individually in your experience, but also just the city as a whole? Are there people that come to mind that are kind of those giants in our community?
Yeah. Um, Hazel McCallion. So she's the mayor of Mississauga for 36 years.
Yeah,
So she is a person I admire, and she led Mississauga grow into one of Canada's largest cities. And her strong leadership impacts me a lot. I always remember the phrase, you have to do your homework. So I get myself prepared on my job, my assignment, my planning, my everything.
yeah,
So this is how she inspired me. So many people consider 65 is the age for retirement. She did not, but instead still work full time. So that inspires me to stay active, regardless of age. Yeah. The other one has a positive impact on me is Ignate Knapp. Um, he was very successful in his construction and other businesses. I do not know him personally. I went to an event and he was a speaker. So um, I since I'm a real estate broker, so real estate and construction are closely related.
very much so. Yes.
Yes, I am interested. So therefore, I'm interested in knowing more about him. So he inspired me that a person can be successful as long as the person work hard and has a positive attitude towards achieving the goal. So he is a philanthropist, and he donated millions of dollars for the benefit of the community. So he is a model in this regard.
He is.
So we could do it too. It's not only the dollar amount, but the heart of giving. So come to this point, I remember something about fundraising in for Mississauga's new hospital. So one of the first fundraising event is the walkathon.
Okay.
So the walkathon was named the Hazel McCallion Walk for Health. So Hazel said, if everyone living in Mississauga contribute $10 to build a hospital, it could raise over $7 million. So in so when we have a common goal, we can make it happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's yeah. So it is
I,
very positive.
I was gonna say that there's no story of Mississauga that doesn't connect to Hazel, I don't think. And but Iggy Caniff, very much a community builder in every sense of the word, not only a physical builder, but the philanthropy, the giving back, the drive, the both absolutely remarkable. How about in the Chinese Business Association itself? Were there kind of significant people that have come and a lot of people will point at you and your husband, but it's but are there people that come to mind that from that cultural connection to the city and the evolution of the Chinese community through your eyes? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
Um, I am thinking maybe Dr. Joseph Wong.
Yep.
So he is a doctor, and he started I think like they go to um, the voluntary work of healing the people from the poor countries, and they did the work for free, and it's volunteer, and it does help a lot in people um, they are low in technology, and they do not have the money to afford the medical expenses, and he offer all these to them, and this is a very good way to like to show love and care for people, not only in Canada but to the rest of the world. Yeah,
Giving back to those in need, regardless where they live. It's a high calling and a good inspiration for others. Um,
exactly. Yeah,
so we've been talking, looking back, and it's always fun to go down memory lane, I think, and look at the city through our eyes as we grew up here. But if you could look forward to the city, the future that's coming. I mean, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary here. Your story comes back to begins in Mississauga, your arrival over 30 years ago. But if you could look forward to the city, this is still your home.
yeah.
Um, Rapid changes have been happening. It looks like there's more changes coming, and I
Yeah.
don't think it'll stop. But are there things that excite you about the future? Things that you're optimistic about the future of Mississauga?
Uh, yes, yeah, I can see the fast grow development and fast growing of the city. So from like just like a mid-size uh, city to like a world-class metropolitan city.
Yep.
So um, as this is the way that we go forward, so more and people tend to live in this place. I imagine there is a huge demand for housing.
Yes.
So as well, commuting could be an issue. So if there is a living place where residents can get the amenities at doorstep and it is weatherproof, wouldn't it be nice? So the idea, so for like, I wish that in some days or in future of a city, so there is like a building of um, uh, condo or um, a living place. So it's like a complex with like the first few floors from the ground level, which will be allocated to business and commercial use.
Right.
And on top of these places, so build up more buildings for residential purpose. So it could like be people when they take the elevator down to the commercial center
Right.
or like retail stores, there is no need to go outdoor. So people can get groceries, grocery, just like even with their pajamas,
Right.
as you say. So they can go to restaurants for food, banks, doctors, clinic, pharmacy
Yeah.
store, fitness center, you name it. So they are all indoor. So there is no need to worry about snow, wind, and rain, and no need to drive a car for the basic stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
this is I would like to see. And also I like to see that technology will develop to be at the top level. So high speed and prominent signal consistency for Wi-Fi, internet, and telecommunication.
Right.
So um, I also would like to see organization with top brand names would anchor their headquarters in the city and provide more jobs. Um, so since this is a vibrant city, so don't forget about like performances business. So we can have the city hosting dramas, musicals, concerts um, here. So city can build bigger theater to accommodate more people to go in to enjoy all these performances.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just great, like just a culturally vibrant place to live, right? You want to be able to
Yes,
enjoy.
exactly. Yeah.
And I think, like, I don't know if you talked about Celebration Square earlier and some of the festivals that we have, and yeah, like that's something that's seems to be constantly evolving and becoming even more dynamic over time, and all the different communities that have cultural festivals, and of course, Carasaga is part of our city as well.
It is.
And so, I mean, those are. Have you been involved with Carasaga in the past?
At some time, yeah.
Yep.
So the CMA, the Chinese Association of Mississauga, involved in the Carol Saga every year.
Right.
So I participate in it for some time. So I also participate in another city for the multicultural festival, and that is a Caribbean.
Yep.
And I involved in the Business Chinese Association there as well. Yeah.
So you're one of the people that never say no when someone comes asking for help.
I'll try to make time and yeah, for that. Yeah.
Well, our city is richer because of it. So, I thank you, and there are many countless people that volunteer their time so freely and wonderfully that help make our city a vibrant and wonderful place to call home. So, from one resident to another, thank you, and I really appreciate this chance to look at Mississauga through your eyes, and um, uh, uh, thank you for taking part in our interview series.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Um, Thank you for spending some time with us. And thank you also to Irene Chu for sharing her memories, moments, and milestones with us for the City of Mississauga's 50th anniversary. Like, subscribe, and follow us, and we will see you on future episodes here with Heritage Mississauga.